Good afternoon and welcome to the Assembly Committee on Natural Resources. Will the committee secretary please call a roll?
Considine.
Present.
DeLong.
Present.
Gurr.
Here.
Hanson. Jackson.
Here.
Karas.
Here.
Kasama.
Here.
LaRue Hatch. Marzola. And Watts.
Here.
And Chair Anderson.
I am present. Thank you so much. If you would please mark Assemblymember Hanson absent excused and Assemblymember Marzola present when she arrives.
Okay.
And if she's not able to arrive, absent excused. We're at that time of session when people are in and out doing presentations, and so just kind of roll with the flow. So I want to welcome everyone to this meeting, those here in Carson City, as well as anyone joining in Las Vegas or Elko or listening online. On today's agenda, we have 3 bill hearings. I will not be taking them in order. First, just a few housekeeping announcements. Please remember to silence all electronic devices while in the committee room. And just a reminder, committee members will be using their laptops to view handouts and exhibits. Please do not view this as a sign of disrespect or inattention. Public comment will be taken at the end of the meeting, and each person will be limited to 2 minutes. You may also submit written testimony or public comment in writing up to 24 hours after the meeting. All right, so let's get started with our Senate bill hearing. Why don't we start with Senate Bill 106, which revises provisions relating to the operation of vessels. Thank you to our presenters today. There's a lot of you. If you need to, we can always get some more chairs. Let's grab another chair for you. It'll be all good. I didn't know that there before.
I'm about to stand up again.
Thank you all for being here, and you may begin whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon. I'm Melanie Scheibel, State Senator for District 9, and I am pleased to hand off the presentation to my eminently competent and very knowledgeable intern, Soraya Bonner.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Anderson and members of the committee. My name is Soraya Bonner, S-O-R-A-I-A-B-O-H-N-E-R, and I am Senator Scheibel's intern for this session. Today I'll be introducing SB 106, which revises provisions relating to the operation of vessels. This bill comes from the 2023 interim session through the Legislative Committee for the review and oversight of the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency. SB 106 seeks to minimize shoreline damage at Lake Tahoe by prohibiting speeds over 5 nautical miles per hour within 600 feet of the shoreline. Additionally, limiting how fast a boat can travel close to a shore will increase safety for swimmers and protect fragile wildlife habitats. At this time, I will pass it over to the members of the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency for more information. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Anderson, Vice Chair LaRue Hatch, committee members and staff, the public. For the record, I am Julie Regan, spelled last name R-E-G-A-N, and I am the Executive Director of the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency. Joining me today is Devin Middlebrook to my left, TRPA's Government Affairs Manager, and Chief Scott Lindgren to my right with Tahoe Douglas Fire Protection District. Before I walk through the specifics of Senate Bill 106, as we're very kindly introduced, I just want to provide a bit of historical context on our agency, the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, or TRPA for short. Tahoe's modern history began with the 1960 Winter Olympics at what's now called Palisades, Tahoe. This international event put Tahoe on the map, and soon plans were developed for a region to grow as large as the city of San Francisco, complete with a multi-lane highway circling the basin, complete with a bridge across the mouth of Emerald Bay, as you can see in that rendering in the slide above you. These plans sparked a conservation movement. Then Nevada Governor Paul Laxalt and California Governor Ronald Reagan came together and signed a bi-state compact to create the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency. The compact was adopted by Congress and signed into law by then President Nixon in 1969. At the time, as still to this day, our governance structure is unique to Tahoe in the United States. This December, we celebrated our 55th anniversary. Today, we're here to discuss one specific aspect of TRPA's jurisdiction, management of the shoreline of Tahoe and recreational activities on Lake Tahoe. Historically, much of the shoreline of Tahoe was privately owned. In 1971, for example, only 13.5 miles of Lake Tahoe's 72-mile shoreline was in public ownership. That figure has more than doubled to 34 miles thanks to the state of Nevada, California, the U.S. Forest Service, and others. Our bi-state compact directs the agency to develop plans for two areas related to the shoreline and waters of the lake. First, we must plan for the conservation of Tahoe's shoreline and submerged lands. Second, we must create a recreation plan for the development and use of recreation areas, including beaches and marinas, while protecting our irreplaceable environment. During the summer, nothing beats spending a day at the beach or on the crystal clear waters of Tahoe by boat, paddleboard, kayak, or giant inflatable flamingo. If that's your pleasure. We want to ensure that people can safely access and recreate on public beaches and the waters of Tahoe. Relevant to today's hearing, let's go back a few years back to 1997. Nearly 30 years ago now, our board adopted a two-stroke carbureted engine ban and established a 600-foot no-wake zone from the shoreline of Lake Tahoe to mitigate boating impacts to noise, safety, water quality, wildlife, and fisheries. Following TRPA's adoption of these regulations, the Nevada Legislature passed Senate Bill 510 during the 70th legislative session in 1999, and this codified our shoreline regulations into Nevada Revised Statute, Chapter 277.215. The language in Chapter 277 referenced back to our own Code of Ordinances. Fast forward now several decades where we work collaboratively with stakeholders at the lake to update our shoreline plan back in 2018. This plan guides development, marinas, piers, and buoys, and recreation along the shoreline. Our 2018 plan continues Tahoe's 600-foot no-wake zone. But in adoption of this plan, we updated our Code of Ordinance sections, which then created this technical glitch and error referencing in Nevada Revised Statutes. So today's hearing is on Senate Bill 106. The intent of this bill basically is to clean this up and amend NRS to match our new code sections. The requested changes would ensure that existing TRPA shoreline regulations are accurately reflected in state law. In recent years, there's been an increase in the popularity of paddling at Tahoe. For example, in 1997, paddleboards were a rare sight at the lake, and today recreation surveys have found that paddleboarding is one of our more summertime popular activities. The increase in people swimming and paddling near Tahoe's shoreline emphasizes the public safety importance of Tahoe's 600-foot no-wake zone. And we know that in hotter conditions, both in Northern California and Northern Nevada, people flock to the lake in the summer. In researching the history and implementation of the regulations for today's hearing, we noticed that our 600-foot no-wake zone rule is not included in the Nevada State Boating Guidebook. This causes confusion for the public about how to safely recreate on Lake Tahoe. It also hampers public safety agencies who patrol Tahoe's waters to educate Tahoe's boating laws. And just to point out, TRPA does not have law enforcement authority, so we partner with the law enforcement community in that endeavor. To highlight the last point, I just want to share two images from public outreach materials. The image on the left side in the slide is from Tahoe's boating safety and navigation app, Tahoe Boating. The screenshot shows the 600-foot no-wake zone in red on the map, and every boater has the opportunity to download that when they're on the water, and paddlers alike. On the right side of the slide is the Nevada Boating Law Handbook produced by Nevada Department of Wildlife, which features an image of Tahoe on its cover. And as you can see from the excerpt, there's no reference to Tahoe's no-wake zone alongside the other state no-wake zones, and we just want to remedy that. The next slide shows the requested changes in Senate Bill 106. The first two bullets on the slide show the requested language update in existing NRS Chapter 277.215, which fixed the now outdated references to TRPA's shoreline code sections. And we're requesting that the 600-foot no-wake zone be added to NRS Chapter 488.600. This chapter contains other boating regulations in the state. And adding Tahoe's 600-foot no-wake zone directly to this section provides clarity on boating rules and guidelines. And this should reduce the confusion that's out there for education and enforcement. So to wrap up, SB 6106 is requesting to fix and clarify the existing 600-foot no-wake zone at Tahoe. TRPA has worked with many interested partners at Tahoe, including public safety agencies, boat rental companies, nonprofits, lakefront property owners, marinas, et cetera, to ensure the clarity of the boating rules at Tahoe so everyone can safely enjoy our beautiful lake while protecting the environmental health for the future. And now I would like to invite Chief Scott Lindgren from Tahoe Douglas Fire Protection District to share a few words in support of this bill.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm Scott Lindgren, Lindgren, and I'm the fire chief in Tahoe Douglas County portion of Nevada for the lake. Obviously, with me, it's about public safety. If we can slow the people down in that 600-foot no-wake zone where all the pedestrians are and the swimmers and that kind of thing, it just makes it safer. We have a lot of water rescues at Lake Tahoe, as you can kind of imagine. We've actually had 2 in the last week and a half that were legitimate. And very successful for just saying. So if we can do this, it's just going to make it safer for everybody, and we have no objection to it. So thank you.
You all ready for some questions, or? Great.
Sorry, I couldn't get my mic on. Thank you, Chair. Back to you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. So the first thing I've got is a question of who would get in the lake at this time, but that's why you probably had to rescue 2 people already.
Exactly. One was Sunday, and it was 6-foot swells out there. It looked more like an ocean than these awesome pictures that you have. And what I don't like about some of these pictures is they don't have life jackets on. And life jackets are great when it looks like this, but as soon as the wind comes up, that's when people have a problem, and that's when most of our rescues come. And so the one this weekend was a guy went to one of his boat that was moored on a buoy, and the waves were so bad he couldn't get back, and so he called 911, and the buoy was in a position where there were a lot of rocks in that area, so our fire rescue boat couldn't get to it. So we actually had to put a rescue swimmer in the water that swam over, got him off the boat, and swam him into an area that the rescue boat could pick him up. And he was very, very thankful. The other rescue was an inflatable raft at Nevada Beach that deflated about 200 yards offshore. That gentleman had a life jacket on, which was awesome, which probably saved his life. But by the time that we got to him, he was very cold, hypothetic, and we had to put him in an ambulance right away and take him to the hospital. So another one that was very fortunate that we were able to get there as quick as we can. There's this phenomenon going on with cold water plunge right now, so everybody thinks it's really cool to be in the water when it's like 38 degrees, but it's really not.
Thank you for being there for those individuals who might need some other help with that. But greatly appreciate all the work you're doing. Thank you for you and your entire crew. All right, are there any questions? Assemblymember DeLong.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I have a couple of questions, if that's okay. They'll follow on with, so who will be enforcing this distance?
Devin Middlebrook, Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, MIDDLEBROOK, for the record. Thank you, Assemblyman DeLong, for the question. So TRPA, we have an agency boat that helps public safety officials out with education and enforcement, but the local sheriffs have boats on the water. Tahoe Douglas Fire and the other fire protection districts have boat on the water, and then Nevada Department of Wildlife also does enforcement on the lake. So multiple agencies working together to help enforce and educate about this rule.
And they all have authority to enforce that statute?
Correct.
Okay. And then how do you measure the distance?
It's from
To determine, no, I'm sorry, on the water, you're gonna enforce a 600-foot. How do you know it's 600 feet?
Yeah, that's a challenge. Devin Middlebrook, TRPA, again for the record. As that lake level goes up and down, that 600 feet from the shore changes. So at the major recreation sites, Cave Rock Boat Launch, Sand Harbor, Nevada Beach, those main hubs of activities, there will be buoys installed delineating that 600-foot no-wake zone so people can very visibly see it. And then for the areas of the shoreline that are less developed, really push people to the Tahoe Boating app, which uses GPS to alert people and show people where they are on the lake. So they have GPS coordinates to know if they're 600 feet or not from the shoreline.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? Did you have Assemblymember Gurr? Sorry about
Thank you, Chair. Just to follow up on Member DeLong's questions. In the Tahoe handbook, it says you have to be 200 feet from a beach used by swimming or used for swimming. Does that add a 6 and make it 800 feet from that beach then?
Devin Middlebrook, TRPA for the record, no, it does not, it's not additive. So 600 feet from the shoreline, 200 feet from any swimmer, it does not become 800 feet.
Okay, thank you. Oh, wait. What, the 600-foot thing is already in law, except not quite. What determines 600 feet? Why 600, not 500, not 700? What's the
Yeah.
determination on that?
There was research done in 1997 at Devin Middlebrook, again for the record, when our board first adopted that regulation. And part of it has to do with the geography of Tahoe. There's often, especially along the south shore of the lake, very shallow waters, a big shelf that goes out. So you needed that 600 feet to get boats into a proper depth so the prop wasn't spinning up sediment from the lake bottom. And then it also has to do with noise and decibel levels. So for every 100 feet you go out, that reduces, and apologies, I don't have the math off the top of my head, but the 600 feet is where that decibel reduction level reduced the shoreline noise to a level that was still enjoyable for people, beach going.
All right, I do actually have one more question. Would bringing this forward, would this make it consistent with the California law as well?
Thank you, Chair. Julie Reagan, TRPA's Executive Director, for the record. We're working on that. So we have also had some, confusion because, as Member Gurr just mentioned, there are different rules related to swimmers, paddle boarders. We're trying to streamline all of that. So we are hoping that we can be successful getting through this process. Use this as an example then to go back to California to make it very simple. And I will add, as Mr. Middlebrook mentioned, since we've been doing this since the late 90s, over time, we've had great success in bringing the boating public into this and have had good luck in enforcing that at the TRPA level and as well with our partners. This just really simplifies it and makes it much more clear for everyone involved.
All right, seeing no other questions, why don't we get started now on testimony for SB 106. As a reminder, please remember to clearly state and spell your name for the record. Testify in support if you support the bill in its entirety. Opposition if it's even just a little bit of a problem that you have with it. And testify in neutral if not taking a position, but you're just providing us with information. Please remember to limit your testimony to 2 minutes. And ditto is always nice. So we will begin testimony in support of SB 106 here in Carson City. If you'd like to testify in support, come on up.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. My name is Davida Tyson, D-A-V-I-D-A-T-Y-S-O-N, and I'm here on behalf of League to Save Lake Tahoe. This bill would create consistency with the codified Tahoe Regional Planning Agency's 600-foot no-wake zone in NRS. This TRPA code and shoreline plan were developed to create rules that are easy to follow and easy to enforce. This no-wake zone will reduce conflict among boaters, paddlers, swimmers, and everyone else out on Lake Tahoe's waters. The 600-foot no-wake zone has been in NRS since 1999, but with the 2018 Shoreline Plan, NRS now references old sections of the TRPA code, and this bill would update those references. The League to Save Lake Tahoe is dedicated to protecting and restoring the environmental health, sustainability, and scenic beauty of the Lake Tahoe Basin. In connection with our mission, we advocate for the implementation of policies contained within regional land use and planning documents, including the 2018 Shoreline Plan. The League supports SB 106 because we would like to see consistency with existing regulations under TRPA's Shoreline Plan. Thank you for your consideration of this legislation and our comments.
Thank you so much. Anybody else here in Carson City? Seeing none. Las Vegas? Seeing nobody coming up to the table. Elko? AVH, is there anybody on the phones?
Chair, the public lines are open and working. We have no callers to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. Next, we will hear testimony in opposition of SB 106. Is there anybody here in Carson City? Seeing none. Las Vegas? Elko? AVH, is there anybody testimony in opposition of this bill?
Chair, we have no callers for opposition at this time.
All right, let's move on to neutral. Here in Carson City, seeing none. Las Vegas, Elko. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and think that there's nobody in neutral on AVH, but let's just make sure. Is there anybody on neutral on AVH?
Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
Thank you so much. Ms. Bonner or anybody else who'd like to make some closing? Thank you so much for the presentation. You did a great job for the first time presenting a bill. Never mind, for the third or fourth time you presented a bill. You did great. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next Senate bill, which will be Senate Bill 10. I will open the hearing on Senate Bill 10, which revises provisions related to certain reports. And thank you to everyone presenting today and for your patience. Senator Titus, whenever you are ready.
Well, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Chair Anderson and members of the Assembly Committee on Natural Resources. For the record, my name is Robin Titus. I represent Senate District 17, which is 6 Nevada rural counties, all of Douglas, all of Lyon, all of Mineral, all of Churchill, all of Esmeralda, and down to Tonopah, which is in Nye County. But most importantly, part of that district actually represents a lot of the wonderful Lake Tahoe shoreline. During the 2023-2024 interim, I had the pleasure of serving on the Legislative Committee for the review and oversight of the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency and the Marlette Lake Water System, or the Tahoe Committee, as it affectionately is known. Senator Daley chaired the committee, and he has asked me to provide a brief introduction of Senate Bill 10 before turning over the presentation to the subject area professionals with me at the table. To my right is Charlie Donahue, Administrator of the Nevada Division of State Lands and State Land Register, State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. And to my left is Casey, State Forester and Fire Warden, Division of Forestry. And they are both here at the table with me, and they truly are the subject detailed professionals. At the final meeting of the Tahoe Committee, the committee voted unanimously to request a drafting of a bill that basically does two specific things. First, it amends or eliminates certain reporting requirements by the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. And second, or part of that is the bill changes the reporting requirements from quarterly to annually for the State Land Register to report the State Board of Examiners regarding the Nevada Land Bank, report on lands or interest in land transferred, sold, or exchanged, or leased in the Tahoe Basin. Hence, Mr. Donahue is with me. The bill further repeals the requirement for the State Forester, Fire Warden, to report annually to certain governmental entities regarding fire prevention and forest health in the Nevada portion of the Lake Tahoe Basin. Hence, Casey. I would now like to turn it over to the professionals from the department to explain why they brought these ideas during the interim meetings. Thank you. Mr. Donahue?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Charlie Donahue, and as you heard, I serve as the Administrator, State Land Registrar for the Division of State Lands. Donahue is spelled D-O-N-O-H-U-E. Our request is very simple, changing the reporting requirement from quarterly to annually. The language that is here within NRS 321-5954 is really hangover language from the original Tahoe Bond Act, where the State Land Register at that time, with the legislature's infusion of $31 million in general obligation bonds to secure urban lots, which could not be developed at that time. It became a little bit of a problem when the State Land Registrar had to go to secure the governor's approval first, or then it was changed to IFC, and finally it was changed to just reporting to BOE, and that really helped facilitate the delivery process of securing those lands, and all those lands were purchased from willing sellers. So today, the Division of State Lands, while we are very active in either securing and retiring land coverage or occasionally securing a sensitive parcel in the basin, I don't believe there's the need to be reporting to the Board of Examiners on a quarterly basis. Often the clerk has really nothing to report. and the clerk just reports that I have nothing to report. So it was Senator Titus's suggestion during the interim to change that from quarterly reporting to annual reporting. We have the obligation to report to TRPA because we actually serve as their land agent, operating the land bank on the Nevada side. So we provide an annual report to TRPA at the end of the fiscal year, usually gets towards the end of or sometime during the first quarter of the next fiscal year. So I don't feel like this would be a burden whatsoever, and it keeps everybody well informed as to the activities of the land bank. So I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions, Madam Chair, or any committee members.
And now the biggest component of this bill is a repealing of part of NRS, and I'm going to turn that over to our state forester.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Casey, that's just the K and the C. It's the easy one to remember. State Forester Fire Warden for the Division of Forestry. Mine is simple. We requested to remove this annual fire prevention report that's only covering the Nevada side of the Tahoe Basin, as it is duplicative. This came to us out of the Angora fire of 2007. As everyone knew at the time, it was the most devastating fire in the state of California from a home loss perspective at the time. Since then, every year thereafter, they have reached a higher mark, so it is no longer the same. But out of that came the Tahoe Fire and Fuels team. This requirement for reporting was added in 2009. The Tahoe Fire and Fuels team was formed in 2008. Since then, they've come up with very handy tools across the entire basin and a forest action plan that was most recently just updated. So it shows you everywhere they've been and everywhere they're going from a priority project perspective. And you can search in their database all the actual work that they've done. So we feel that us pulling the Nevada side of the basin for a small contingent of folks is repetitive to a larger report that you can pull. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the discussion. Anything else, Senator?
No, I would just thank you, Senator Titus, for the record. And I love taking laws off the books. I think we have personally too many laws, and with an opportunity to do some clarification, frankly, of double reporting. Our folks are very busy, and we have to do a lot of reports. And when both of these professionals brought forward these ideas, the whole committee said, yes, this just makes good sense. It's not that they're not reporting, and that's the key. This information is available. The reports are there. It's just, as Casey said, duplicative, and they already have jobs to do. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions? I think since we haven't seen each other for 2 weeks, except for on the floor, we're all like questions. So it appears we have no questions for you today. So thank you so much. We're now going to move on into testimony. For those who will begin testimony and support here in Carson City, come on up to the table.
Devin Middlebrook, Tahoe Regional Planning Agency, MIDDLEBROOK. Want to, first of all, thank Senator Titus, Senator Scheibel, and the other members of the Oversight Committee for their work during the last interim and supporting the bills that you've heard today and additional ones that you might hear in the near future. Also really much appreciate and support Nevada's role at Tahoe and all the great work they do, and support anything we can do to make their jobs more efficient and reduce duplicative reporting for them and their staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody here in Carson? Come on up.
I'll do one more. Scott Lindgren, Fire Chief for Tahoe Douglas. I'm also the chair of the MAC that oversees the Tahoe Fire and Fuels Team. And representing the MAC and the Tahoe Fire and Fuels Team, obviously we support this. We have a lot of good data out there. It's just repetitive in their reporting. We'd like them to have a little easier job with that, but we'll keep good information coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody here in Carson? Seeing none, Las Vegas, Elko, AVH in support of SB 10.
Chair, the public lines are open and working. We have no callers for support at this time.
Thank you. We'll now move into opposition. Is there anyone who would like to oppose this bill here in Carson, Las Vegas, Elko, AVH?
Chair, we have no callers for opposition at this time.
And let's move on to neutral. Is there anyone here wishing to testify who's neutral on this measure here in Carson, Las Vegas, Elko, AVH?
Chair, we have no callers for neutral.
All right, that concludes our testimony on SB 10. Would you like to make any closing statements? Just a thank you. Thank you so much, Senator. And I will close the hearing on SB 10. And now let's move on to Senate Bill 21, our last one, which revises provisions related to outdoor recreation. Presenting today, we have Administrator Baronio. Please accept my apology, from the Division of Outdoor Recreation, and you may begin whenever you're ready. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the Assembly Natural Resources Committee. My name is Denise Baronio, that is Beronio, and I serve as the Administrator of the Nevada Division of Outdoor Recreation, also known as NDOR. Today I am here to present Senate Bill 21. The Nevada Division of Outdoor Recreation is committed to advancing and promoting sustainable world-class outdoor recreation throughout the state. To support this mission, Legislature established the Nevada Outdoor Education and Recreation Grant Program, also known as the NOAR Grant, to fund outdoor education and recreation programs for Nevada's students. However, the program remained unfunded until the last legislative session, when it received a one-time $500,000 appropriation. NOAR aims to enhance academic performance, self-esteem, community engagement, and personal health by exposing youth to the environment, agriculture, natural resources, and STEM learning. Additionally, through federal economic development administrative funding, NDOR launched the Nevada Outdoor Recreation Infrastructure Grant Program, also known as NORI, which was a one-time funding of over $615,000 in 2023. This supported communities and organizations statewide for shovel-ready projects and transformative planning endeavors that advanced their efforts to diversify their economies around outdoor recreation assets. Despite the success of both the NOAR and the NORI grant in funding 57 projects across all 17 counties, the overwhelming demand included 163 proposals requesting $4.2 million, which demonstrates a critical gap in resources. Outdoor education and recreation programs are only as effective as the framework that supports them. Without safe, accessible spaces such as youth camps, shaded areas, maintained trails, and ADA-compliant facilities, outdoor programming cannot reach its full potential. Nevada simply does not have the funding necessary to sustain both the demand for programs and the amenities needed to support them. To bridge this gap, SB 21 expands the Nevada Outdoor Education and Recreation Grant by creating two dedicated funding opportunities. One is for student-focused programming with adding infrastructure, and one is for public programming with public spaces. While NDOR will continue to support and prioritize getting kids outdoors, the current statute limits its ability to fund educational projects or programming that have tangible environmental improvements. This bill strengthens outdoor recreation programming by ensuring the necessary facilities are in place, from well-maintained trails for guided nature education to shaded areas that make year-round learning outdoors possible. By integrating programming with resources, SB 21 enhances outdoor education, expands access, and supports long-term stewardship of Nevada's natural spaces. With this expansion, NDOR envisions operating these as separate funding rounds, ensuring that student-focused programs would not compete with broader public education and recreation projects. So NDOR will continue to prioritize education and youth programming, shovel-ready projects, and capping infrastructure award amounts to stretch the dollars as far as possible. The allocation for each grant program, youth-focused and public, will depend on available funding. However, the goal is to maintain at least the level of funding for youth-focused programming with the hopes of increasing support. And any additional funding would be directed to public grants after prioritizing youth-focused programming. This model aligns with other successful grant programs run by the state, including the Recreational Trails Program, which recognizes the interdependence of education and infrastructure. Endor is passionate about getting kids outdoors, and we are extremely excited about the new opportunity this provides for school amenities, nature centers, trees and landscape for shade, and other framework that will benefit students directly. The impact of the NOAA grant is already clear. In 2024 alone, 10,944 students spent over 25,855 hours outdoors, and the programming supported 57 jobs. Outdoor recreation is essential, not just for students, but for all Nevadans, establishing opportunities for outdoor recreation, which is fundamental to Endor's mission through supporting the outdoor economy, improving public health, enhancing ADA accessibility, the fostering long-term stewardship of the state. However, significant barriers remain, including transportation challenges, climate-related issues such as extreme heat, wildfires, and flooding, coupled with the time it takes to access recreational opportunities that are spread across our vast state. According to the statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, also known as the SCORP, 54% of Nevadans do not live within walking distance of outdoor recreation. Endor's goal is to reduce these barriers by expanding grant opportunities that help communities and partners invest in essential programming and improve assets. This will advance the outdoor recreation economy for Nevada, which contributes over $8.1 billion to our GDP. And it is quickly becoming the focus of travel and tourism to bring more visitors to our state. But we cannot successfully compete with other Western states without elevating access, groundwork, and quality of life through outdoor recreation. The current statute does not allow the flexibility needed to integrate infrastructure into the NOAA grant projects, or by expanding funding for public outdoor education and projects. SB 21 strengthens Nevada's outdoor recreation system by ensuring that both programming and infrastructure receive necessary investment. By improving access where people live, work, and learn, rather than relying on one-off experiences. This bill supports long-term health, well-being, conservation, and economic growth. Outdoor spaces are more than just places to visit. They shape our communities, enhance quality of life, and encourage a lifelong connection to nature. Thank you, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing forward this bill. Are there any questions? As somebody just said, it's a good bill. So I do have a question that has nothing to do actually with the language from the bill. It has more to do with how do you advertise the different programs and the availability of being able to get one of those grants. But again, this bill is more about the advisory board, but that was just more of out of curiosity.
Great question. Thank you, Denise Baronio, for the record. When the bill was when the program was originally introduced, the advertising was via email and word of mouth. We now have developed a website that just was launched about 2 months ago. Really proud of our team. They have been pushing social media. We are a division that was really small and not well known, so we are building our recognition through these kinds of programs, through our Starry Sky program, astrotourism, and really promoting health and well-being through education opportunities. The Capitol Christmas tree is an opportunity that we're utilizing to help promote outdoor recreation and education to kids.
Thank you so much. Any further questions? Seeing none, you answered all of our questions pretty quickly. Thank you so much. I think we will open it up now for testimony. If there are individuals who would like to provide testimony in support of Senate Bill 21, come on up to the table here in Carson. If there's anybody in Las Vegas, if you'd like to come on up for it as well, you're more than welcome to do so. You may begin.
All right, good afternoon, Chair Anderson and members of the committee. My name is Nicole Flangas, Flangas, representing the Nevada Outdoor Business Coalition. I am here today in support of SB 21 and want to thank Administrator Baronio for all the work she's done with Endor. We know exactly how much Endor grant programs have made an impact, with requests being double the funds originally allocated for the last 2 years. This session looks to update the division and grant structures. We're in support of the sections that allow them to consider infrastructure projects. We maintain that the purpose of the grants is to administer and support outdoor recreation programs with youth programming as a priority. However, the administrator should have the ability and flexibility to consider small infrastructure projects and larger reaching educational programs. Thank you very much.
Hello, Chair and members of the committee. Sheila Bray with the University of Nevada, Reno. I will echo everything the previous speaker said, and then just add to it, we're, through the extension program that's housed at the University of Nevada, Reno, we have 2 outdoor camps, one at Lake Tahoe and one in Alamo, which is in Lincoln County, Nevada. And through that, we've seen monumental change with our youth and providing them day trips and overnight trips, and we can just this program helps to extend that and offer us to be able to bring them to more youth. And so we are also in support of the changes as noted. I think that helps to open up the opportunities even further. So thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Anderson, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Taylor Avery, and I'm the Manager of Political Affairs for the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is in support of SB 21, expanding the field of outdoor recreation-related organizations and programs eligible for grants will support small businesses, help Nevada's growing outdoor tourism industry, and spur economic development. The bill also supports efforts to increase student achievement, an objective not just important for the future of Nevada's children, but the betterment of Nevada's future workforce and leaders. Through this bill, organizations that support enhancing custodianship of cultural and natural resources will be eligible for grants, ensuring our state's beautiful outdoor spaces will be available for all those to enjoy for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Avery, could you possibly spell your first and last name?
TaylorAvery. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Christy Cabrera-Georgeson. I'm the Deputy Director of the Nevada Conservation League. The Nevada Outdoor Education and Recreation Grant Program and its ongoing funding continues to be a priority for NCL. We have seen study after study show that getting kids outside has multiple benefits for their health, physical health, cognitive health, academic performance, all of that. But we've had the privilege of following up with many of these grantees who were awarded money through this program. We heard from students directly, we heard from teachers who said that kids had these outdoor experiences and then came back really rejuvenated, ready to learn, ready to focus on their studies. So we are really excited about this bill, urge the committee support, and are excited to see this grant continue to grow and flourish. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone here in Carson City? All right, let's move up to Vegas. I have a feeling Elko, there won't be anybody else there, so Las Vegas, you may begin when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is McCaden William, MCADEN WILLIAM, with One API Nevada, and I am here to testify in support of Senate Bill 21. As a grassroots organization, we work with other organizations to educate our communities on various subjects from cultural heritage to nature conservation. In 2024, we co-hosted a bilingual nature walk at Red Rock Canyon National Conservation Area with Southern Nevada Conservancy and the Nevada Chinese Association to increase awareness around climate, environmental preservation, and sustainability, providing information to our communities in both English and Chinese. It's access to programs like these that enrich the lives of Nevadans and help us appreciate the nature surrounding us. Investing in outdoor recreation programs, especially for students, is essential to ensuring that future generations of Nevadans can connect with and learn about the state's unique natural environment. By directing resources to programming and infrastructure to promote conservation and expand access to our outdoor spaces, SB 21 is a future-focused commitment supporting our public lands and communities. We urge you to support SB 21 and help more Nevadans appreciate nature just outside our doorstep. Thank you.
Thank you. And is there anybody else in Las Vegas who would like to testify? Seeing none. AVH, is there anybody that would like to testify in support?
Chair, we have no callers on the line for support testimony.
Thank you. We'll now move into opposition. Is there anyone here in Carson City, wherever I am, Carson City, who would like to provide testimony in opposition of this bill? Seeing none. Anybody in Las Vegas and testify in opposition? AVH.
Chair, we have no callers for opposition testimony.
Thank you so much. Let's move on to neutral. Is there anyone who is wishing to testify neutral on this measure? Seeing none in Carson City, nobody in Las Vegas, AVH.
There are no callers for neutral testimony.
Thank you so much. That concludes our testimony. Would you like to make any sort of closing remarks? Okay, thank you so much. And I will close the hearing on Senate Bill 21. We've now arrived at the last thing, which is public comment. As a reminder, members of the public can provide comments in person, by phone, or submit written public comment to the committee's email up to 24 hours after the meeting. Instruction for providing public comment can be found on the agenda, and anybody here in Carson City who would like to do so? Seeing none. Las Vegas, I think we've cleaned the room out. The lights are still on though, which is better than Elko. And so AVH, is there anybody on the phone line who would like to provide public comment?
Chair, the public lines are open and working, but we have no callers for public comment.
Well, thank you so much. That concludes our meeting for today, and our next meeting will be Wednesday, April 30th. We'll probably be here in the meeting for 4 o'clock, but members will be meeting outside for a photo at 3:45. So thank you so much. The meeting is adjourned.